Hey, what's going on, everybody? Ryan Newple here, Noob Sports Show, episode 149. Really excited that you all here listening, taking part in this iGaming show that we've kind of grown into something bigger. We've always had dreams of growing this show and bringing on amazing guests and just talking to people in this awesome space. And we have another awesome guest for you today, and I'm excited to hear his story and hear all about what they have going on. So I won't spoil it before I bring him on. But first of all, we are live here. We do encourage questions. So if you're watching this live on YouTube, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, wherever you might be watching this, please ask questions. We'll pop them up on the screen. We'll ask our guests to put them on the spot and go from there. So we do encourage that as we go here. So without further ado, I'm going to bring on my guest. I have Chris Carlson. Chris, formerly with FourCubed, now with SharpLink. Chris, thank you for joining me. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me, Ryan. How are you?
Doing well today. You know, I'm here in Orlando, Florida, enjoying the sun. I know it's cold in a lot of places in the world, but I'm enjoying this Florida
Minnesota.
weather. How about you? Where are you at today,
I'm in
Chris?
I'm in Minnesota and walked the dog this morning. It was about 8 degrees, maybe.
Ooh.
So yeah, I was just down in Florida though, so I missed that sun for sure.
Oh yeah, the sun is good here, and I'll be flipping. I'll be heading up to Minnesota in a couple months or a month here. I'm actually heading up for a little visit up there. Don't ask me why I'm heading to Minnesota in the winter. That's another story. But heading up for a
Because
little
it's
visit. So
wonderful up here. It's wonderful and balmy. So
I've heard that. I've heard that. Well,
yep,
anyway,
yep.
first of all, thank you so much for joining me. I'm excited to hear your story. And I know we were talking before, kind of off air, that we've kind of been running in the same circles for several years. So I love talking to true, for lack of better terms, true dinosaurs in the industry, people that have been around the gaming industry forever, and that's you. So why don't you first off tell the audience a little bit about yourself, a little
Sure.
bit about your background in gaming, and kind of how you've came up in this industry.
Sure. So I guess you could say I was kind of marked for this to be in this industry at a young age. I grew up in a really competitive family and always loved strategy games, and I played sports. And so, kind of coming into a business where I kind of eat what I kill, and if I don't perform, I'm not earning any money. Seemed it was perfect, and it really matched my personality. Um, so when I was a kid, I ran a blackjack game in my high school. So there's my entrepreneurial spirit. My first sports betting fiasco. I was probably in fifth grade. I had four older brothers, and it was Thanksgiving, and they showed me filling out parlay slips. And I thought, I mean, God, I could put in $2 and make 16 or whatever it was.
Chris, we might have lost you on audio here. Chris, we may have lost you on audio. I don't know if you hear me, but I've lost you. Hey, well, we lost Chris there. He'll be back in just a minute, I'm sure. I think he was having some technical issues. So, hey, you got me for a minute here. Hopefully, he'll come back and give us a little bit of that background of his story and talk a little bit about their acquisition. You know, we're going to jump into the FourCubed acquisition of SharpLink. Man, what a big acquisition that was! SharpLink Gaming. We actually had Rob Fithian on previously in the past on this show, and so you know, he talked all about SharpLink back in the day. Now with Chris and FourCubed coming on board with them. I'm excited to hear more from them. So always dealing with technical issues. Hopefully Chris will be back on here in a minute and we can go from there. In the meantime, you know, I'll just kind of fill some time here and chat a little bit about what we have coming up. We have several other shows. We got another one this afternoon going live with Dan Gratzier. We have him coming on later today. And then we also have a whole slew of people coming up next week as well. So more great shows for you to watch next week. Hope everybody's doing well in the industry. Events coming up as well. I don't think there's many events right now. I think the FSGA conference coming up in February. That'll be a fun one to go to. If any of you have not been to FSGA, I've heard it's a great event. I actually haven't been there myself, but I'm definitely planning on going this year. And then obviously SBC has moved their event into July, so that'll be coming up. And we have several others, so should be a good time. Well, let's try to get Chris back on here and see what we got. Chris, are you with us now?
I am with you. And wow, to say I've been working in technology for 17 years and get cut off is not a good look for me.
Hey, you know what? It happens to the best of us. And I thought it was on me at first, and I'm like, I don't know. So anyway, I just filled a little time. I talked a little bit about other stuff in the industry. So why don't you just pick right up where you were and just start talking a little bit about your background?
Sure. So like I said, I was playing cards, and I started receiving what we called rake back then, where an individual who was a marketing affiliate would pay me a percentage of the fees I paid to the house. So he was paying me that rake back, and actually in poker turned out to be pretty significant payback. So I had started doing that for other players. I kind of built a name for myself on the internet in these different gambling communities. And that's how it really was back then. This is 2005. This is pre-Facebook. This is pre-social media. And these websites and communities were social media back then. It's just, it's basically exactly what they were. So then I would I had eventually over 300 players I was managing on Excel spreadsheets, and it wasn't doable, right? And I got really lucky being in the right place at the right time. And I had tons of people wanted to play cards with me. So I found a developer, and we built software that logged into all of my affiliate accounts. It downloaded all my statistics, parsed them, managed them. It was a back-end auditing accounting system as well as a front-end marketing platform. So I did that for individual players, and it just exploded again. I found a developer who was I found all poker players, and gamblers who really know what they're doing tend to be pretty logical, pragmatic, statistically probability-oriented people. So found a great developer. And it's funny now with COVID, right? Everybody's doing virtual meetings and video, and everybody was like a fish out of water. And we've been doing it, right, as you know, since 2005 for me, right? So it was kind of old hat. Point being, that developer I had, I didn't meet him in person for 2.5 years. And we built a business that was very successful. So after Rake Tracker, there's a CPA model as well. So there's a flat fee per each player attracted to a room. And, we had traffic with players that would just go test out things. So we went after a CPA type business alongside our rev share business, because there was more market opportunity and market share and revenues to be had. So we did that. And then that software we developed, a lot of affiliates were attracted to it, right? The affiliate companies had that software. However, none of the marketers really did. And nowadays, having a platform like that is paramount in order to be a real affiliate out in the space. So what I did was, at first, I tried to charge affiliates a licensing fee. I priced it too high, and a couple of them made their own, and I created competitors, right? So love a free market. But so then what I did was I took my software and I white labeled it so that it could sit on a publisher's website. They could keep their users in brand. And I provided them back office support, and they had to use my affiliate accounts in order to get access to the software. And the real reason that happened was Black Friday. So I grew the business in the US market, and Black Friday happened, and I lost a little more than 80% of my revenues on a Friday. And I remember I was in the meeting. I remember coming out of the meeting and seeing this, and it was like the sky had fallen, right? However, I was lucky that I had this PAS business, right? This affiliate marketing network, because it enabled me to pivot into global markets, right? I wasn't really sure how to penetrate them. It was either find translators and translate all my content. Then I had issues because the business model I really believe in is creating relationships with gamblers and players, and creating some sticky marketing hooks where I get their information and I continue talking to them, and they're coming back to me for some reason or another.
Sure.
And this really helped around Black Friday because I have these relationships, all these users I lost because they're not tracked because these rooms went under. I can talk to them again and I can move them to new rooms. So it really, really helped me tide those things.
Let me interrupt you real quick because
Sure.
I want to make sure the audience understands what you're talking about on Black Friday, because
Sure.
I do, but let's make sure we're not thinking Black Friday before Christmas or whatever. But yeah,
right.
explain Black Friday back in the day and what that meant.
Sure. So in 2011, U.S. government went after the financial banking system. I mean, it was an affront on online gambling, but the way they did it was they passed a law where financial institutions couldn't facilitate transactions into gaming companies. So, like I said, I was heavily involved in poker, and they went after poker sites, and they actually seized the domains to where homepages had a federal government insignia on it, which was, I don't know if I've ever heard of that, and I still don't know if we've heard of it since. But so I lost my whole market, and luckily for PAS and that white label solution, which really enabled publishers in their local cultures who knew how to talk to their users, who know what they want, they could get in there and do it and handle that local aspect, and then we took care of everything else for them.
Yep.
So over time, we were able to go global, and like I said, which really helped us fade, right? The kind of Black Friday situation. And then the US market was showing signs of life again, right? It was around 2012, 13, had some challenges on the Wire Act. We had some other, good industry events, and the future was looking bright. So I built a team again, and I had, I spent, 10 years or so really playing defense and recovering from Black Friday. Well, not 10 years, but, a handful of years before I went back into the US, and really assembled a great team, and went into New Jersey. However, the market wasn't, fast enough to materialize. And one of the issues we have in poker is we need liquidity. We need players to be at the table to play against other players. The beauty of sports betting is you don't need that. All you need is a casino who's willing to book a bet. So that's a wonderful thing. We don't have that liquidity issue that we have in poker. So we went after New Jersey. Market was too slow to materialize, and we had to abandon that. And this is one of the reasons I was really attracted to Rob. There's a handful, but this was one of them. Was due to our capital structure and our financial situation, we couldn't last long enough for this market to regulate and come out. So what I had to do was focus back on, our global priorities. So that kind of brings us to today, right?
Yeah.
Roughly. And everybody's looking at the U.S. market. It's huge growth opportunity. There's tons of money pouring in. And I've had a lot of really, really good conversations, right, over the past couple of years. And looking for the right spot. And Rob really brings a lot. And, I'm really excited to be working with him.
So let's speak a little bit to that, right? I mean, that's a great story. I mean, you guys have clearly kind of built your path to where you are today. And then, just recently, for those of you that haven't heard, right, SharpLink Gaming has acquired FourCubed, your previous company, and now you're serving as the VP of conversion at SharpLink. And tell us a little bit about that deal and what that really means for SharpLink, I guess, going forward.
Sure. So, as I was looking at the U.S. again, there's a couple things I'm missing, and in a regulated market like this is licensing, is the infrastructure to deal with KYC. There's just a handful of things that I are really problems for me, or what I thought were kind of walls for me to get into the space. Being a rev share affiliate or an NGR affiliate, right? That's my bread and butter. That's how I know how to make a living in this space. And that was an issue. Rev share licensing in the States, that is a true barrier to entry for affiliates like myself.
Yep.
And that was one of the things that also made me really start looking for a partner. Now, Rob also has some other things, right? He has all of his daily fantasy experience, and he has captive audiences from that. And the audiences I've been describing, I really like to work with. The sticky audiences, the ones that are in communities for a reason, and we can kind of get in their user flow and start to talk to them and build relationships. So with all that being said, here we are. Rob's got a public company now, which is attractive and something I never really saw in my future, especially when this industry has been under assault for so many years, and I was trying to figure out how to navigate. But super excited about this and moving forward.
I always say, being in this industry so long like you have, I used to be super quiet about what I did in like a weird way. Like, not that I was like doing anything wrong, but it just felt weird to talk about. Right. And now everyone's shouting from the top of their lungs that they're working in the gaming industry in the United States. And I'm like, it's just such a different mindset.
Yeah.
As you mentioned, it was kind of under assault for years, which it felt that way. It truly felt like, just attacking this whole industry. And now all of a sudden it's like 100% accepted and cool to be in this industry, which is so cool to see from our side. But it's just a different mindset now. And I love that you have now positioned yourself to really shout and go forward with what you're doing with SharpLink. That's amazing.
Yeah, it is. It's really, I'm extremely happy with the deal and what happened and the outcome for my business and 17 years of work. But going forward is equally exciting, right? I feel I kind of plateaued for a bit, and looking for something new to sink my teeth into. And over with SharpLink, it seems there's a ton of opportunity to really kind of go into the market, find those hooks, build those brands that are going to, really make a difference in the space.
Yeah, so we had Rob on, I think it was episode 126 of this show. So pre FourCubed coming into the picture, we had Rob and Charlie, and he talked all about, their vision and what they're up to. So for those of you watching or listening, please make sure to go back, watch that show. It was a great episode as well. But tell us a little bit, Chris, tell us a little bit about, I guess, what you will be serving. What will you be doing specifically with SharpLink, and what part of the business will you be really focusing on, in your role?
Sure. So, my focus is finding players and delivering to the rooms. It's that simple. And then we can go downstream and get as complicated as we want from there, right on those strategies. What we have is Rob has relationships with leagues. So we have huge traffic sources there with professional leagues. So part of my job is figuring out how to get in front of them, get into their user experience and send them off to place wagers at gambling operators. I also, I just bring 17 years of experience in the space. Same as yourself, we've really watched this mature and grow. And I mean, it's still sitting on the cusp of the US right now, which is a phenomenally large opportunity. So that experience also brings my network. I've worked with a lot of people in the space. And we knew this back in 2013 that, brick and mortar casinos are going to play a piece of this role, but it's the digital shops and the digital outfits that know how to, play here. And they need us. I mean, they really do. And there's not a lot of people like us out there, right? Yeah. Especially in the United States, there's not. So, I feel pretty fortunate to be in this spot for sure.
I love it. Well, congrats and great for you. I'm super excited to see where you head. Tell us a little bit about the betting landscape in Minnesota. I mean, is there going to be one? Are we going to have one? What's the status in Minnesota? I know you have a little insider info there, I'm sure.
Yeah, I have a little bit. I think it's an inevitability, and I think we're at a state of not if, it's just a matter of when.
Yeah.
Right, as everybody gets in line here. Minnesota has the issue of tribal gaming and them not wanting to open their compacts and open those back up to negotiations, right? So they have that hurdle. I know that they used a lot of their political capital on online lottery a little while ago. So, beyond that, it's coming. It's just, I'm not in those internal conversations, but it'll be here.
Yeah, I agree. I think I keep saying the same thing for Florida. I know Florida has been battling, back and forth with legal lawsuits and things of that nature. But I think eventually it's going to happen across the board and in nearly all states. We'll see. Maybe not all, but nearly all states. I think we'll
right.
have it here shortly.
Right. That's the panacea. That's what we're hoping for.
Cool, cool. Well, Chris, any last words for the audience here? Anything I didn't touch on? Anything you want to touch on about the future before I let you go here?
Yeah, I mean, there is one thing, and that is a technology that we're building and that we have, and I'm of the opinion that the affiliate space is ripe for some new technology. In my years, there hasn't been a lot of innovation there. There's been kind of that standard administrative accounting engine, and I think there's a great opportunity to differentiate with technology right now, and another reason I'm really excited.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, technology is for sure the future, right? We always say that. It's kind of a cliche statement, but yeah, I mean, technology and growing technology is going to be huge in this space and in this industry going forward. So I'm excited to see what you guys have in the works here, and we'll definitely be keeping an eye on you and SharpLink and everything that you guys have going on.
That's great. Thanks, Ryan. Hey, look me up when you're in Minnesota as well.
I will. I definitely will. And Mike, I don't know if you remember Mike. Mike's back in the day, but he says Minnesota is a constitutional amendment state like Wisconsin. It's a tough one. So he's up in Wisconsin. But another original. I love seeing names from the past, man. You see guys from the past, you're like, oh, I know these names. I know these people.
How are you, Mike? Great. Nice to hear from you.
Yeah, really good to see some comments from some original people. So anyway, Chris, really good to have you on. I really appreciate your time. If anything I can do for you over the years, certainly reach out and holler, and we'll go from there. So thanks again for being here.
I appreciate it. Thanks, Ryan.
All right, guys, that was Chris Carlson of FourCubed, currently now with SharpLink. Exciting deal they had in the works and that they made happen. So excited for both Rob and Chris in that deal. That's a super cool deal to see happen, and I'll keep an eye on them as we go. Hey, if you guys have any questions, comments for Chris, I don't even think I gave you links, but I'll put links in the show notes on how to get a hold of Chris or how to reach out to them. So I dropped the ball there. I didn't even ask him how to get a hold of him, but I'll put links in the show notes. Make sure that happens here after this. So be sure to reach out there. Thank you for watching. We'll have more to come. If you need anything, Ryan Newpel out on all the social media channels. Hook me up on LinkedIn. We'll go from there. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day, and we'll talk soon. Bye-bye.